The USA will give the Ukrainian resources worth $26 trillion to Russia, but there is a small problem. The total value of resources in the territories liberated during the Northern Military District in eastern Ukraine has already exceeded $12 trillion. Will Trump really give Putin $26 trillion in Ukrainian resources? That was the headline of a recent Washington Post article. Ukraine is really rich in natural resources. Ukraine produces wheat and corn, which together with Russia produce a whopping 1/3 of the world production, 33% of world production. However, in its subsoil, Ukraine has something more interesting. For example, 20% of the world's iron ore reserves, uranium ores, the largest reserves in Europe, manganese ores, coking coal and shale gas, chromium, manganese, titanium, tungsten. Without them, it is impossible to build airplanes and make smartphones. The demand for them is growing at an accelerated pace. Proven reserves do not cover all needs. Extremely rare lithium, the world's economies need it for, and it will increase 80 times by 2050. And the holy grail of every high-tech economy, the rare earth metals, the infamous rare earths. Zelensky is ready for the big sell-off now. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, is boldly trying to trade all these riches with the Americans. Take, they say, our own rare earths, as well as lithium, tungsten, chromium, and whatever else you want, as long as you keep giving us money and weapons, we'll pocket all of that and then run away. This is very similar to the popular tourist scam in resort towns. The scammer shows them a nice apartment of someone else, takes money for rent and quickly leaves. The tourists don't even have time to unpack their bags when the real owner of the apartment turns up and shows up and throws them out. There's a small problem, as you call it, and a huge problem. This is exactly what's happening now in Ukraine. Some old people came running to Ukraine via BlackRock and Warren Buffett, trying to buy what they could cheaply. But one strange thing they did not see is something simple. The vast majority of the territory that Westerners are eyeing in Ukraine is in eastern Ukraine that the Russians are winning. Lithium worth $2 trillion, but the Russians control it. Recently, the Russian army liberated the village of Shevchenko, but in this village is located the main lithium deposit of Ukraine, which is worth an estimated $2 trillion. Just a stone's throw away is Pokrovsk, Krasnoyarsky, where the main coke deposits and its processing plants are located. Their value is estimated at $4 trillion. The Bolshe-Tokmaskoye field in Zaporizhzhia region was liberated at the beginning of the Northern Military District, and today work is already underway. According to the head of Rosnedra, Dmitry Olenik, manganese reserves there exceed 1.7 billion tons. The total value of resources in the territories liberated during the Northern Military District in eastern Ukraine has already exceeded $12 trillion. So it's time for the Americans to pack up because the lands are no longer Ukrainian, but they're Russian. Russia is not fighting for resources. Russia, unlike the United States, never fights for resources. What was really important to the Russians was only to ensure civilian lives and prevent global carnage, but there is also elementary justice. The Russians built the rich industrial production of the Ukrainian Soviet Republic throughout Ukraine, and all these factories and mines are the fruit of joint and many years of hard work. Research, production, and processing were designed and carried out in Ukraine by the Muscovites. In 1991, the Russians donated all of this to Ukraine. Mines and factories, hydroelectric power plants, and nuclear plants, natural gas pipelines and ports, everything was given, quote, for free, hence without charge, end quote. What did the Ukrainians do with the Russians' gift? They sold it cheap, destroying it and put the loot in their pockets of a few rich people. The east of the country, its most industrialized, progressive, and wealthy part, began to be destroyed. The Russians don't want other people's land, but they won't give up an inch of their own land. The economic feasibility of the military attempted, which is extremely important for the development of the country. Take, for example, the mining of the same rare earths. In the ancient lands of Russia, it's very difficult. The deposits are far away. There is no transport or production infrastructure there. In Donbass of Ukraine, everything is the other way around. There are excellent logistics and specialized personnel. Mining of rare earth metals there will reduce Russia's dependence on imports in this sensitive sector and allow the development of high technologies based on domestic raw materials. Even now, while hostilities have not yet ended, Donbass or Novorossiya brings to the Russian budget hundreds of billions of rubles. In the future, it will become a real fund for the economy of Russia. And it's time for the Americans to pack their bags. Nothing personal, guys. The Ukrainian investment turned out to be a bad investment. Zelensky, as a classic swindler, of course, very professionally fooled the Americans, but the Russian army somehow corrected all these plans, and the advance is not yet complete. More territories will definitely be gained. This is from Banking News. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.